Welcome back, everybody, to another episode here at Just Dolan. Last time on Just Dolan, we took possession of a bat that may or may not have been owned by Satoko's deceased, or rather, transferred away brother. Got into a bit of a altercation with Rena on the side of the road. And there may or may not have been a bit of screaming and threatening going on from both parties. This time, today on Higurashi When They Cry Ch.1 Onikakushi, something else. Let's jump right in. Satoshi and I had... What? All my well-planned actions throughout the day turned out to have been nothing more than a reenactment of what Satoshi had done. Satoshi, had he really been in the same situation as I was now? The friends he had gotten along with had changed suddenly, and for no reason, at least none that I'd noticed, planned to kill him. Then, fearing for his life as I am, he got a bat to protect himself and carried it around every day to practice his swing. And then one day, suddenly, he transferred. My blood went cold, causing a prickling sensation to course through my veins. Starting near my heart, it radiated outwards, from the top of my head to the soles of my feet, chilling every part of me without recourse. What did she mean by transfer? What did she mean by transfer? Was Satoshi still at wherever he transferred to? Yeah, Keiichi, it's called a grave, dude. Come on, get with the program. Was he the only one who would be able to understand me? Would he be able to tell me why it all ended up like this? More importantly, where did he transfer to? My mouse isn't... Fuck. Hey, mouse. Jeez. My mouse just stopped working. I hate it when it does that. I have this really good Razer Naga Chroma mouse, and it's really good all the time, and it's really awesome. And occasionally the mouse just gets stuck, and I have to well, you could hear it, listen. I have to do that, really fast. See how fast the mouse is moving? In order to get the mouse to move again? It's so annoying. The Naga Chroma is great. It has a million buttons on it. It's perfect for me, but it's annoying. I don't know how to fix it. I've been trying to fix it for 6 months now. Anyway, off topic. More importantly, where did he transfer to? What did she even mean by transfer? What did she mean by transfer? Before I knew it, I was at my front door. The frigid knob was hard to turn. Was nobody home? It wasn't that odd of an occurrence. I reached into my pocket and pulled out the single key attached to my first seal keychain. Forgot about that. I stepped into the entryway. Just as I was about to take off my shoes, a chill ran down my spine. Oh my god! I just remembered from the anime... There's I think it was an OVA or something. There's a pool episode, and it had a really silly plot where Keiichi had put on a cursed pair of swimming trunks, like a Speedo, and apparently if he wore it for X amount of time, then he would become a narcissist or something, and all the girls were trying to get him to take off his fucking Speedo. And eventually they did manage to get it off, and then they referred to his penis as a fur seal. But they never had the scene at the Watanagashi with the first seal keychain and him dragging Rena off. To my knowledge, I don't remember that scene. So I never had any context. I thought it was just completely random why they called it a first seal, but I just remembered. That's really funny. That's really funny now that I know that. I stepped into the entryway. Just as I was about to take off my shoes, a chill ran down my spine. Someone had entered right behind me. Like a classmate, messing around, standing right up against my back. You're kidding, right? It had to be my imagination. Logically speaking, it was impossible for someone to be able to hide their presence within my personal space all the way through the door. But there was undoubtedly someone behind me. Hey now, Keiichi. How do you know they're there, even though they're behind you? Because I could hear the sound of flowing hair. The sound of flowing hair, huh? There's no other reason I'd hear that sound. That was the presence. Because I could hear the sound of them blinking. Okay, yeah, you're just going crazy. Got it. I was gonna say, I used to have hair that went down, like, way far, and I didn't even hear the own sound of flowing hair. My hair used to reach down, like, past my shoulder blades and shit. Good times. Good times. Keiichi Maebara, there's no way you could hear that. My most base instincts were warning me of the presence. Common sense was telling me that it was just my imagination. It was just my imagination. There was nobody behind me. I began to erase the mental image of an eerie figure standing behind me. But at the same time I asked myself, if there was nobody, then what was I feeling? As an uncomfortable sensation crawled up my spine. Actually, wouldn't it be better if there was somebody there? If there was nobody there when you turned around, would you be able to accept that? I'd be able to answer all those questions just by looking behind me. Yeah, I was thinking that. But I didn't have enough courage to even do that simple task. Oh, right, I could try speaking to them. The person behind me might answer me. It was a random thought. I didn't care how I went about it, just so long as I didn't have to turn around. Stop being such a pussy, Keiichi. Come on. Why are you so afraid of Rena? I know that her eyes are like a little bit creepy, but come on, dude. Still Rena. Not that scary. Like, at all. If I'd calmed down and thought about it, I would have known that I wouldn't have solved anything. Who is it? I spoke in such a hoarse, broken voice that I couldn't believe it was my own. Oh, sorry. Sorry. Who is it? There we go. I could almost feel them contemplating their response. I felt it. There's no way I should be able to do that. Calm down, Keiichi. It's all in your head. Yeah, it is. That time, I was certain I heard it. As if hesitantly trying to answer my inquiry, I was certain I could hear the sound of somebody inhaling. I heard it. I heard it clearly. It was a girl. A young girl. I didn't know who, but a tiny speck of courage in me, however reckless it was, inspired a primal yet fitting solution to the current predicament. A scream. Okay. I would say turning around is a pretty good answer. All the force in my body released from my lungs and through my throat, ceasing all thought processes in my head. Suppressing all my thoughts and emotions, I began to collapse like a house of cards, somehow managing to twist my body and look back as I did so. It was definitely there. Right there. Somebody was there. Until the moment I turned around, until I brought the area behind me into my field of vision, they were definitely there. Falling face up, my eyes traced the remnants of the presence suspended in the empty space. It couldn't be. They were invisible. They looked like they were there. They looked like they weren't there, but they were actually still standing there. As I screamed, all the emotions I was holding back burst free in a violent wave. However, I was decidedly calm as my emotional dam collapsed. The turbulent wave of pent-up emotions was skillfully diverted into a torrent of aggression. That emotion was definitely required to extricate myself from the bizarre situation happening right in front of me. In my state of heightened lucidity, I entrusted my body to the fury. The metal bat held firm in my right hand as if drawn there by a magnet. The mid-level sweep would be the hardest attack to dodge. I remembered reading something like that from a book about swordsmanship or something. A book about swordsmanship or something. It brandished my will to fight. The afterimage of the amalgamation of metal flashed as it swung from left to right, beating against the entryway. The bat slammed into the right wall, the tip rebounding violently. Very calmly, I transferred the force of the rebound and sweep to the left. door of the shoe cupboard was split into pieces. Those two swings whiffed through the empty space, but they seemed to have a great psychological impact on the enemy. I could feel the panic emanating from that space. The attack wasn't the only thing required. I extracted the bat from the cupboard it was embedded in and screamed as I spun my entire body around in a large arc. My screams shook the air, imbuing my ferocious swing with even more destructive power. Is that how it works? Crack. Without mercy or restraint, my violent strike, with certainly fatal force behind it, shattered the top of the cupboard. None of my attacks struck the enemy, but my ferocity had certainly seemed to impact them. Breathing heavily, my entire body soaked in sweat, the invisible enemy, there but not there, dispersed. Keiichi, Jesus. When I was certain the enemy had retreated, I locked the front door and latched the chain. No way had it only feigned retreat and was now inside my house. Once again, I channeled my aggression and searched the house for the presence, but it was gone. I had succeeded in fending it off. At that moment, the tension drained from my body and I let out a deep sigh of relief. All of the emotions I'd been holding back chaotically merged together and began to flood out. A hodgepodge of fear, accomplishment, and disbelief all mixed together and began to flow through my body. Unable to deal with each individual feeling, I beat them all back with the strongest. Exhaustion. Even in this moment, I remained composed. After checking that all the doors throughout the house were locked, I went up to my room on the second floor and closed the curtains. I straightened my back and tilted my head back a little. After clearing my mind of all my idle thoughts, I managed to calm down even more. What was that at the front door? There's definitely something there. Yeah, totally. Thinking about it, maybe it was just an apparition I dreamt up in my confused state, but I really didn't think that was the case. Calm down, Keiichi Maibara. Compose yourself. But no matter how calmly I thought about it, what just happened wasn't a figment of my imagination. It was obviously a supernatural phenomenon. And without a doubt, something was behind me. It wasn't some sort of illusion I saw amidst my confusion and disorientation. Proof? I had just one piece. When I asked who is it, they inhaled as if they were about to answer. That sound had clearly reached my ears. The situation I was in right now was still unclear. If you truly thought they were going to answer, why didn't you wait for them to answer? Either I'd been possessed by the supernatural phenomena known as Oyashiro-sama's curse, or this was a ruse by the villagers who believed in it and were imitating it. Yeah? And how did the villagers turn invisible and sneak into your house? Either way, their motives were unclear. The roundabout way it had been done was also still a mystery. If it was perpetrated by humans, that would mean admitting that it was Rena and the rest of them doing it. But it would be solvable. Oishi-san and the rest of the police would surely arrest my enemy. But if it was a manifestation of the curse, I wondered what would even happen. Oishi-san very clearly declared that curses didn't exist. At that time, those words were pretty dependable, but as things were now, with the rising possibility that the perpetrators were not human, he suddenly seemed quite unreliable. If I told Oishi-san this was the work of the curse, what would happen? Couldn't imagine his reaction, but it would go without question that a void would expand rapidly between myself and Oishi-san. With me having so few allies to begin with, and not being able to confidently declare whether or not this was a curse, there was no merit to doing that. I better keep the facts of what happened at the doorway to myself. It would be better if I didn't add what happened here to the memo behind the clock. There was still the ever so slight possibility that I was actually confused when I thought I was composed, and I was just going berserk in the entryway. How wonderful would that be if that was really what happened? I'd be able to refute the curse, but if I denied If I said that Ren and the rest weren't the perpetrators, then that would mean believing in Oyashiro-sama's curse. By denying both of those, I thought I'd be admitting that I myself was losing it. The three options from which I couldn't choose became a trilemma of sorts. They mixed together and formed a whirlpool in my mind, making my head spin. Yo, talk about head spinning. By the way, I apologize if, I sound weird or there's, a couple pauses in this video. I think I'm getting sick again. I have to keep pausing to, blow my nose, and it's just a bad time. I think I have a bad cold again. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. Once again, I straightened myself and leaned my head back slightly to cool myself down. Calm down, Keiichi. Accept what has actually happened as reality. Stop thinking of anything more than that. But I couldn't help but think of it. How wonderful it would be if it turned out I was delirious and everything up until now is a figment of my imagination. Oyashiro-sama's curse wouldn't exist and I would still be bestest buddies with Ren and the rest. I would have to be crazy. That was the first time in my life I'd ever wished for such a thing. Bestest buddies. The phone rang noisily downstairs. Generally, there were no calls for me, so I never really answered the phone much. But since my parents weren't here, I had no choice. I scrummed off of the bed and went downstairs. Mosh mosh. Hello, this is the My Bar residence. Keiichi, this is Mom. I intuitively had a bad feeling about this. It was because I thought she was going to ask me to go out and buy something. So I took the initiative. What? I don't mind having instant noodles for dinner. There's still a lot of them. The other day we went out as a family and bought a whole case of cup noodles. What? I wanted to get a bunch of different kinds, actually. But they refused since the individual packs were expensive, so instead I got a whole case of the mega-sized pork bone and ginger flavor ones I liked. Pork bone and ginger flavored ramen, huh? That doesn't sound bad. But my parents don't like strong flavors, so I didn't touch any of them. So the cupboards are still full of them. So you see, there really isn't a need to go shopping, right? Literally? Keiichi, I'm not asking you to go shopping. Both Mommy and Daddy have to go to Tokyo right now because of work. Huh? Right now? This was really abrupt. No, well, actually we're already here. We left this afternoon. It's quite a distance to Tokyo from Hinamizawa. Gunning it at full speed down the highway would still take 6 hours. Dad has a license, but since he doesn't like the highway, they likely took the train. It would have taken longer. I'm thinking you might understand since you heard us speaking last night, but it has to do with Daddy's contract. Right now things aren't going so smoothly. Now that you mentioned it, I did remember that they talked all the time about how his job prospects weren't looking so good. Daddy's really sensitive about things like this, so if we leave things as they are, it'll affect his work. Part of my father's particular fragile artistic personality, his emotions change as easily as the fall sky. You could also just say he couldn't take criticism. Fair. But something like that can be done over the phone. Keiichi, this is your father's job, so can you support him a bit, please? Anyway, it's just faster to talk about it in person, so there wouldn't be any misunderstandings. As their son, there was nothing more I could say once they started talking about work. So we'll be back tomorrow night. Keiichi, will you be fine on your own? I mean, you're already gone. You're already gone. It's not like I'll die or anything. Keiji, you shouldn't speak so lightly of dying. If there's something troubling you, just talk to us. I believe Mommy will be able to help you out. It's really weird having her refer to herself as Mommy. It's weird to me because my mom doesn't do that. Never did that ever. Yesterday I did bring up if I died rather abruptly, so I suppose they were a little worried. But really I was more depressed by the fact that nothing would be resolved by telling them. But I didn't plan on dying, at least not while I still knew nothing. I would never allow it. I won't die. I won't. I'll survive even if I have to gnaw my leg off. Yeah. See you then. Tomorrow morning, make sure to wake up and eat your breakfast. And don't forget to take a bath and brush your teeth. Yeah, see ya. Call ended like that. Sometimes my parents went off to Tokyo for business meetings, but Tokyo was far away. They normally did things by phone. Times I did go were normally planned out in advance. It never happened this suddenly. I couldn't say that those circumstances didn't feel strange. Or rather, unnatural. Anyway, I only needed to recognize the reality of the situation. That tonight, I was the only one in the house. That when my parents came back from work, I'd be gone. Missing. Vanished. Transferred. Looking back on the series of events of the previous 5 years involving the curse, it wouldn't seem that strange at all. Come to think of it, it was getting pretty late. I didn't think it was good that the only light on in the whole house was from my room on the second floor. It was the same as broadcasting to the enemy that my parents were gone and this was their chance. First I ran to the living room, flicked on the lights, and turned the TV on to a reassuring volume. Next was the study. I similarly turned on the lights and some music. With this, from the outside, it would look like my parents were here. Once again, I went through the house, checking to see if there was anything left unlocked. When I saw the veranda and laundry still hanging out there, I went pale. That would have made it too obvious. I needed to take it down. I snatched down the laundry haphazardly and erased all traces that my mother wasn't there. It should be fine now. Ah, the garage! They hadn't gone all the way to Tokyo by car, but they had gone up to Okonomiya Station. The garage was empty, wide open, and in plain sight. This was not good. I panicked and rushed out the back to close the normally open garage door. Should be fine now. I need to get the paper. Mom always got the paper. Since they left in the afternoon, the evening paper was still out there. My premonition was correct. I pulled out everything from the mailbox and dropped it in the entryway. With this, for sure this time, it should be fine. And then I walked inside and heard hair. Come to think of it, leaving the cupboard busted like that for my little freakout was kind of bad. I'll just say I tripped and fell in the bed I was holding, smashed into it. Even so, just leaving it in its current state wasn't good. I should clean it up a little before Mom got back and scolded me. I remember that there was a broom and dustpan in the closet. As I was going to get them, the phone rang once again. Mosh mosh. Hello, this is the Maibara residence. Oh, is this Kaiichi-kun? Is your mother around? She isn't here at the moment. You idiot! Keiichi Maibara. Don't reveal that they're gone. You just went through all of that shit to make sure nobody knew. You can follow up still. Calm down and take care of it. I think she'll be back soon. That wasn't a good response either. Now that might say they'll call again. Or to tell her to call them when she comes back. And that's fine. It wasn't anything important. Well then, sorry for the bother. The scenario I feared didn't play out, eliciting a sigh of relief. That call was fortunate in more ways than one. I'd have to deal with any telephone calls coming in from my parents tonight. I was somehow able to deal with the one just now, but I couldn't continue to rely on such poor improvisation. I needed to make up a good story to explain that my parents were home but couldn't answer the phone at the moment. Yeah, sorry, my mom's actually taking a big shit right now, so she can't talk. Sorry. Bye. They were making tempura and couldn't step away right now. That wasn't good enough. They were sick and went to bed because they weren't feeling well. Was that going to be safe enough? I was thinking about it on the way back to my room when the phone rang again. It was like they were calling because they knew I was going to lie. I didn't want to pick up, but I knew I had to. They'd suspect my parents weren't here. I should have just taken the phone off the hook under the pretense that I didn't realize that it was. But since the phone rang, I had to pick it up. I prepared myself and lifted up the receiver. Hello? I stopped announcing this was the My Bar residence. I had no more reason to be kind to someone I didn't know the identity of. But unlike my uncouth voice, the person on the other side sounded goofy and lighthearted. Hello. My apologies for calling you so late. This is Oishi from the Okinomiya bookstore. Oishi-san? Is that you, Maibara-san? Good evening. Good to hear you're doing well. Wait just a moment, please. I grabbed the portable handset and rushed up to my room with it. It was the same no matter where I was. There was no one else home. But I wanted to be in a spot that just felt a bit safer when speaking on the phone with Oishi-san. Even though last time you were clearly spied on the whole conversation. Sorry for the wait. How are things? Anything changed since then? Since then? When was that exactly? There was something about the brazen way he talked that rubbed me the wrong way. The last time I spoke with Oishi-san was 2 days ago. The day I stayed home from school, I met him on the way back from the hospital and headed into town for lunch, and then we had a talk. After that, Rena and Mion came to check up on me. Whenever I spoke with Oishi-san, they always knew about it. It was like that since the first time I met him. Today's phone call may well be found out by them as well. Hello? Can you hear me, Maibara-san? Huh? Oh, sorry. What did you say? I asked if anything's changed since last time. There wasn't an answer, so I got a bit worried. Not really. The words stopped in my throat. There's a ton of stuff that happened. All of it baffling. What should I talk about? I didn't understand any of it, but I should try asking. If I didn't ask now, I may never have another chance. This night when my parents weren't home, I had no guarantees I would make it through the night safely after all. Well, Oishi-san, it seems that someone is after me. Really? It could all just be a coincidence, but that day I missed school when I was sick. The two of them came to check up on me. Which two? Rena and Mion. They started asking about how I had lunch with you. What next? They left me some mochi when they came to visit. Oh yeah, it was mochi. I called it ohagi last time. Whoops. Whoops. But there was a needle in it. Fortunately, I somehow didn't swallow it. I wonder, could that have just been a threat? About the needle. It was just one of those common sewing needles you see all the time. There's a hole to thread string through. Not that, Maibara-san, the needle itself. That's evidence. It could be used as proof that they threatened you. Where is it? That's right, that's it. I dropped the receiver and rushed downstairs. When I tossed the mochi, I had overlooked it out of terror, but that needle was a valuable piece of evidence. Let's see, I threw the mochi and the needle at the wall together. If it was there, then it would be on the living room wall. I mean, it was cleaned, duh. But my prudent mother had cleaned the living room wall, and there was not a trace of mochi left on it. Could it be that it dropped in the gap between the wall and the carpet? I frantically searched by running my palm along the carpet, but nothing turned up. I tried moving around the sofa and desks, pulling up the carpet, then flapping it around. Couldn't find it. Did my mom clean up everything without noticing it? It's just 2 days ago. I didn't know what day they collected burnable trash. There we go. But it may still be in the trash bin in the kitchen. I rushed in the kitchen, opened the lid of the pail, and poured out the contents. But even at a glance, I could tell that it would be incredibly difficult to find the needle in this pile of trash. I was looking for a needle in a trash stack. I know, I'll try running my hand through it. It was a bit gross, but I was looking for a needle. If I felt a small prick, I'd be able to find it. It was a pretty tactless method, but it was the quickest. I held my breath and started striking the pail of trash with my hand. Filth flew about. There was nothing more disgusting than this, but it was not the time to be concerned about such details. I continued on for a while, but nothing turned up. I wanted to search more thoroughly, but I was still on the phone. I shouldn't keep him waiting for too long. You've already rearranged your fucking living room and shit, Keiichi. Like, he's been on the phone waiting for a while. You should have just took the phone with you. Fuck are you thinking? Later, when Mom got back, I'd have to ask her if there was a needle. I hastily began scribbling on the notepad affixed to the refrigerator with a magnet. Was there a needle? I scrawled the words in a red pen. Really? I then dashed back up the stairs where I had been keeping Oishi-san waiting for far too long. Yeah, Keiichi, you are like far past the point where it's just paranoia. Like, you're actually going insane. like really insane. Hello? How did it go? I couldn't find it. I was really overwhelmed when it happened, and I see. It would be great if you could find it. Keep it safe. That's right, the needle wasn't the only incident. I had to tell him about this morning with the hit and run. Also, Oishi-san, that isn't all. Actually, this morning, that van was definitely aiming for me. I could say that without question due to the circumstances at the time. Did you see the license plate? I could search for it from here. Damn. At the time, I just flipped out yelling at him, but I didn't look at the plate. What failures on my part with the needle and plate number. I was so focused on just protecting myself that I let some of the most important details slip out of my grasp. I punched my pillow, annoyed at how worthless I was. I'm sorry, I don't know much more than that it was a white van. Nothing to fret about, my Bara-san. Anyone would be shaken up after being hit. I guess all of this really isn't a coincidence, is it? Oishi-san started to hem and haw over the other end. I could imagine him folding his arms. Also, Rena is acting strange. How so? What Rena said on the way home today, asking why I was so much like Satoshi-kun. Now I could say it with confidence. That Rena knew what happened to Satoshi. She knew that there was more to it than him simply disappearing. Rena knows. She knows something regarding what happened to Satoshi, the kid who was demoned away last year. What would that be exactly? Rena said that I was the same as him. She said something to the effect that the way things are going, I'll end up with the same fate as Satoshi. Fate, you say? Exactly what kind of fate did she say would befall you? Transferring out, she said. Transferring out. She said that Satoshi transferred out. So given how things are going with me, I'll transfer out too. Oishi-san let out a stern sigh and then grumbled loudly. My Bara-san, that was probably some sort of threat. Or maybe some type of warning. I thought so too. At that point, I started to think, would it be prudent to sum up everything that had happened up until now as the machinations of some human perpetrator? Other than the theory of it being Rena and the others, I was left with Oyashiro-sama's curse actually existing as the only explanation. Of course, I couldn't tell that to Oishi-san. Except, Rena's strange behavior could be the proof of either scenarios. Whether it was Oyashiro-sama's curse being real, or everything being a part of a conspiracy committed by all of the villagers. Rena was involved. Rena had to know something. Rena was suspicious. What exactly was Rena? I couldn't help but think she was somehow involved with the prior string of mysterious deaths. I seemed to recall that Oishi-san had admitted that he had dug into her past a little. He was probably just downplaying it when he said a little. Meaning he had actually dug pretty deep, most likely. I wanted to hear about Rena. I wanted to know what happened at her previous school, among other things that were still unknown to me. If she was someone I should suspect. No, not that. I wanted to know the truth. Tonight I was alone in this huge house. Even though I said I couldn't count on them, I had lost the security I felt just by having my parents around. It wasn't like this house was some sort of fortress or castle. If a malicious person decided to use brute force, they'd easily gain entry. There were no other residents close to the My Bar residence. No one would be able to hear anything, no matter how loud it was. I had never felt as much resentment towards my father's artistic temperament and the fact that he had this house built in such a remote location as I did right now. I wondered if I would still be here by tomorrow morning, so I had to ask, right now, because I had no idea when the next chance would come. Also, it just rang. Oishi-san, I have something I wanted to ask about. Please don't keep anything from me. Sure, ask away. Even though he was so far away on the other end of the line, this is the most reliable he had ever felt. I wanted to ask about Rena. About what happened at our previous school. Actually, regarding Rena's... I had noticed a sound that had been going on for a while now. I was so focused on the call I hadn't paid attention to it at first, but I finally realized it was the doorbell. The time was 7 o'clock. It was past the time that the postman would be making a delivery, and past any sensible time for a neighbor to be visiting. I considered just acting like nobody was home, but that wouldn't be good. Yeah, no shit. That would ruin all the work I put in, making it look like my parents were home. I need to answer the door. Hello? My bar, son. Sorry, someone seems to be at the door. I'm gonna go see who it is. A guest? I see, my apologies. Should we end this phone call now? That would be a problem. No, I'll be back in a second. Do you mind if I just leave the phone on? It's fine. I don't mind. I dropped the handset on my bed and dashed down to the door. I needed to make up a good excuse to get them to leave. I had a hunch it was the lady who called right before Oishi-san did. In which case, it would be one of the neighbors who's friends with my mom. I'll just say she isn't feeling well and went to bed early. That would be the easiest option. It'd be hard for her to ask me to wake my mom up if she's not feeling well. The bell continued to ring at regular intervals. If someone didn't answer after hearing the bell so much, you'd normally give up and go home, wouldn't you? Without removing the chain, I opened the door slightly and peered out at the visitor. A chill ran down my spine. I knew it. Somewhere deep inside, I had prepared for this moment. I tried to escape by imagining it was the easiest person to deal with, one of my mom's friends. But it was me, Dio. Oh shit. Oh shit. Oh man, I really want to keep going, but This is the best spot. This is the best spot I'm going to be able to find to cut this episode off. So I guess I'm going to do that. I can't wait until next episode now. Really needed that. I can't wait until next episode now. So much stuff is about to go down. It's gonna be crazy. So, yeah, sorry for the abrupt, like, bam, now it's over, but it's been going on. We're like 40 minutes in. We need to find a cutoff point. This is the best we're gonna find, so. I will see you all next time. I will see you tomorrow, if you are watching this when it goes up. I think we only have a few episodes left in this until we move on to the next chapter, so that's pretty rad. Yeah. I'm going to go take some cold medicine now. Because before I started recording, I didn't realize I was getting a cold. So I'm going to go do that and hopefully no longer have one soon enough. I'll see you guys all later. You have a beautiful rest of your night. Moi. I love y'all. Peace.